Now that our database is configured and the products table has been created, the next step is to use it inside our API. Up to this point, all of our endpoints were working with hard-coded in-memory data, which means nothing was being stored permanently. In real applications, controller communicate with the database through Entity Framework core. So we are going to replace that fake data with the real database operations. To do that, we inject our app.db context into the controller using dependency injection. ASP.NET Core will automatically provide an instance for us because we registered it earlier in the service container. Once injected, we can use it to query and modify the products table using link, just like working with normal C# collections. We will start by updating the get endpoint to retrieve products directly from the database. After that, we will modify the post, put and delete endpoints to persist changes so that data remains even after starting the application. This step transforms our API from a prototype into a real data-driven backend. You may notice that our controller methods now use async and await. This allows the API to perform database operations without blocking the thread, which improves scalability and performance, especially when handling many requests at the same time. Entity Framework Core provides asynchronous methods like toListAsync and findAsync, so we use them to keep our application responsive and efficient. For now, just know that this is the recommended way to work with databases and modern ASP.NET applications. Our API has been sending and receiving product entities directly. While this works, it's not recommended for real applications. Entities represent our database structure, and exposing them directly can create security risks that make the API harder to evolve over time. Instead, we introduce data transfer objects, or DTOs. DTOs define exactly what data is exchanged between the client and the server, allowing us to hide internal fields, validate input more safely, and keep the API contract stable even if the database changes. We will create separate DTOs for reading and creating products. The controller will convert between DTOs and entities before creating and interacting with the database. This extra layer may seem small, but it's a key step toward a clean production-ready architecture used in professional systems. For a start, inside the Explorer, let's add a new folder and let's call it DTOs. Inside the folder, let's add a new item and call it product DTO. So the DTO is a security layer above the product, so we need to copy this and paste it inside the product DTO. We get rid of this, we don't need this, we don't need the created add, and let's save. Now let's create another DTO for the creation, so we call it create product DTO, and we need to paste all the properties. We don't need the ID because it's going to be used for the creation. We delete this and we delete the create add and save the file. Now we need to create another DTO for the creation, so let's add a new item, call it create product DTO. We need to paste all the properties. We don't need an ID because it's going to be used for the creation. We don't need this, and we don't need the created add, and save the file. Now that our DTOs are defined, the next step is to update the controller so it no longer exposes the product entities directly. Instead, the API will receive and return DTOs while the database continues to work with entities internally. For read operations, we will fetch products from the database and map them to product DTO objects before returning them to the client. For create operations, the API will accept create product DTO, convert it into a product entity, and then save it to the database. In a production system, create and update operation often use different DTOs because the validation rules may differ. However, for simplicity at this stage, we will use the same DTO for both creating and updating products. Later in the series, if we need more control for the DTO, we can introduce a dedicated update DTO. Now that all CRUD endpoints are implemented, the next step is to verify that everything works correctly with the real database. I will open Swagger, which provides an interactive interface for testing our API without needing front-end application. First, I will create a new product using the post endpoint and check if it appears both in Swagger and the database. So let's start with the post, and here we can try it. We can copy this. The name, for example, it's going to be laptop. Description. And for the price, 20 for the stock. Now let's execute. And here for the status 201, that's mean new line has been added to the database, and so we can verify inside the database directly, and we can see that the high performance PC already added. Now after that we can make another test for the get, and we know that the ID is 0. We can check that in the database, so ID equals to 0. We can try it, and here we got our PC already created. For the put, we can just copy this because we're going to need this inside the put. Try it. 0, we don't need the ID, but for the name we can say something like updated laptop. Execute. Code status 200 updated laptop, and if we verify inside the database, so it was laptop and now updated laptop. That's mean our API is working very well. And now for the last endpoint, try it, and we say 0, execute. Code status okay, and inside the database the element is deleted. So we have done with the tests, and this validation step is crucial because it proves that our API is not just returning mock data, but it's performing a real database operations and maintaining persistent state across the requests. So in this video we defined the endpoint for the product controller. We used the async wait on the product controller. It was not very detailed, but I think I'm going to make a new video for all the details with multi-threading for async and wait. We mapped the DTOs into entities for the creation and getting the DTOs from the product controller. We created the request DTOs, and we created the product API. So all the endpoints, the get, the update, the put, and the delete. See you in the next tutorial.